What up, everyone? 12 will be back again. Just going to be a video on why I'm no longer in Worldwide Vintage Snapback Exchange, WWVSE. And I know it's been a while since this has happened, but I decided to do this video because I posted in one of the groups I'm in on Facebook that's still deals with the the vintage scene and stuff, vintage apparel and things like that. I was thinking about the those times back in going on 10 years ago, 2012 and stuff like that, and stuff that a lot of people that were in it then aren't in it now, and a lot of people that are in it now weren't in it back then and stuff. And I just was thinking about it, and I was like, man, I never did a video on what happened with that and everything. And I just decided to do a video because some people were wondering, some people didn't know, because it was an abrupt thing. Like when it happened, I can remember the day that it happened, to the T. I got like some Dolphins gear or whatever. I think I got like a Dan Marino jersey or something like that. Vintage Dan Marino jersey or something like that. I know for sure it was a Dolphins item. It could have been a crew neck or something like that. But I can remember getting it, and one of the first things I did at the time was that I would go and I get it and I would post it to the group, Worldwide Vintage Snapback Exchange. So the time came for me to go and get it, and at this time, the way how Facebook was set up, you could go and you could be, even if you're removed from the group for a certain amount of time, it will still show you as being in a group. But when you're going to make a post or something, it'll give you like an error message or something like that. So what happened was, I get it, and I'm seeing that Worldwide Ventures is still in my listing. It's still on my list of groups that I'm in. So I'm like, go business as usual, go snap the pictures, go and post it into the group, and it's giving me error messages. So I'm like, man, what's going on? So lo and behold, I was no longer in the group. I had to ask somebody, because at the time it won't tell you, oh, you can't post because you're no longer in the group and this, that, and the other. So I had to inbox somebody else that I knew that was on my friends list that was in the group to see it, and it was like, oh yeah, you're not in the group. And I'm like, man, what's going on or whatever. And so yeah, like I said, when it happened, it was abrupt, and I was like, I'm thinking about the whole time, what happened and stuff, because from day one till now, from day one when I first started doing it back in 2012, 2013 or whatever till now, I've always been serious about doing this per se. I've been trying to keep it professional and stuff. Whether it is when it came to me selling stuff, if it had such item wasn't in the condition or whatever that the person wanted, I tell them, hey, such and such is wrong with this item, blase blase. Do you still want it, blase blase? And even in the events that I ship something off and the person be like, hey, I just noticed this, something that I could have missed or whatever. And hey, I noticed this about this item or whatever the case may be. I'll go and I tell them, hey, what you want? You want a partial refund, full refund? If they say they want a full refund, I just send them their money back. And I tell them keep the item. And I just take the L. But I would do that to keep my name out there as being solid, that somebody can say, okay, hey, I can deal with this person because they did this, that, and the other the last time when something did go wrong through the process, they made sure they made it right. So, the whole time I always kept that about me and stuff. And even when times came along when I wanted to do other transactions with people, it wasn't hard, because when somebody would go and say, hey, do you have references? Are you legit? Now, I'm inbox a whole list of names of people, 20, 30, 40, 50 people that can vouch for me and say, okay, yeah, this person, is on the up and up. So, in saying that, even like those people, some of those people are no longer in doing it or whatever and stuff, but I can still inbox all those people to this day, and they'll vouch for me. A lot of people kind of went on to other things from that scene 2012, like Iceman, the Professor Snap, and all of that. A lot of those people moved on or whatever. But I'm still doing it. As you can see, like behind me, I still have stuff that I got and I posted on my Instagram and stuff, hanging up. And I post, like I say, post on my Instagram. The hills have snaps, and I still post it into the Facebook groups and stuff like that. So I haven't stopped doing it. And there are a few people that are still from like the groups that was on Facebook, TVS, and even my group, VAC, Vengeance Power Cavalry. There's still like a couple of us that are still on and still doing stuff, and you have new people that came onto the scene or whatever. But yeah, like I was saying, even from day one, I've made it a purpose of mine to sit there and say, okay, hey, I'm going to always make sure I keep everything on the up and up with my my sales, my business and stuff, how I treat people and everything like that. So when the time came and this happened, I'm sitting up there and I'm looking like, what could cause me to get removed from this group? Because there's nobody that can sit there and say, okay, I scammed them out of money, or I didn't ship them this item, or this, that, and the other and stuff, And I was racking my brain. I'm like trying to figure out, So I got wind of some things after the fact and everything, and even through like certain messages and stuff that I messaged to people in the group. It became, in a nutshell, it was more of I got removed from the group because of a personal vendetta or a personal disliking for me, for whatever reason. I never talk to anybody bad, never curse anybody out. I don't do that kind of stuff. So I mean, it was a personal vendetta, a personal disliking for me, and the people that were in power at the time, or this particular person that was in power at the time, because it wasn't everybody. I know for a fact it was only like one person, one maybe two people. I know for sure it's one person, but those people had a dislike for me. They used their power to say, okay, hey, I don't want to see this person. I want to get rid of them, regardless of them having a squeaky clean record, and they've had a bunch of transactions and everything went on up and up. I'm gonna find a reason to get rid of them, because they didn't have a reason to sit there and say, oh man, he scammed this person, or he did this wrong to that person. So they went out their way and did personal investigation to try to find a reason to justify them removing from the group. And when it happened like that, that's why I think the group kind of like started going downhill. I don't know how popular the group is now, or how it is within the group and stuff, but I know from firsthand there were a lot of people that got wind of it or knew what happened, because I wasn't candid about it. I let people know, what happened, because they was asking me, okay, hey, I haven't seen you around the group, you haven't been posting, blase, and I let them know, man, what them went down, because I was just as much in the dark as they were as to what was going on. I'm like, when pieces started being put together and stuff, and when I started getting messages back from certain people and everything, I put two and two together, and when other people kind of went to that, it rubbed them the wrong way, and they're like, how you do that to this person, that's in a group and everything and stuff, and that kind of like caused people to kind of like distance themselves away from the group and everything, and kind of like fade off. And I think that's what killed some of the people's passions for being in the scene and everything and stuff, because there are some people that to this day have yet to jump back into it and stuff and do it. And they moved on to other things because that kind of put them off. But but basically what happened, when I was in that group and stuff at that time, which I still kind of did this kind of mantra that I have, it still has held up, but I'm not as firm or as staunch on as I was then. But at that time when I was in a group, I had a particular rule that I wasn't going to spend no more than $21 on a snap. And that means shipping included and everything. So, and at the time it was like the reason why I specifically put that rule into place was because I didn't want to go and start overspending on hat stuff, and something that maybe down the line I'd be like, oh man, I don't really love this like I did before. Well, I'm not as passionate about this as I was before. So then I'm looking at, oh man, some people drive two bills on a hat, to spend all this money on a hat or whatever, and then it'll be like, some of them people are no longer in it, and I'm looking like I don't want to be that person to drop $200 or $300 on this item, and then I fall out and I no longer have the stuff. I've been sold and been donated. And I'm looking like, where they went at. You see what I'm saying? That I didn't want it to become a financial burden. That it consumes me then, because I'd be looking for the next best thing, the next item and stuff. Because that's still to this day, there's a hat that I've never gotten, the Carolina Panthers double shark too. Hat, and that was going to be a hat that I said, okay, it was going to break it. I was going to break that mantra. And once when I got it, that was going to really be it for me collecting as far as with hat stuff, because that was going to really be the only one that I really wanted to have for my personal collection. So that's when I started off that, hey, I set this price limit in my mind that, hey, if I cannot get this hat for $21 or less, I'm just not going to get it. And I kind of set that in a place to kind of be capable, responsible, and everything. That was one of the things that people didn't like. Certain people didn't like that I set that rule in place. I'm looking like, why does it matter? It's my money. I'm spending my own money or whatever. I can choose to do this or not to, because I say I'm not going to throw $100 on a hat. That don't mean I'm talking bad about everybody else, because I always say from the get-go, I have no problem with people doing it. They do it, that's them. I never spoke negatively on or whatever the case may be. But some people took it and was like, oh, whatever the case was, that, oh man, he only gonna spend $20, he a broke boy, cheap this and that and the other. Whatever the case may be. That was one of the things that, like I say, people didn't like. Some people kind of like spoke on it once I explained it. It was cool. It was like, whatever floats your boat. That's, that's your decision. But this particular person sat there and started disliking me for that. I'm like, how you dislike me because of that? That was one of the things. Another thing that happened, what it was, and this was kind of like, this happened along with the other thing that I'm going to get into after. The other thing that they didn't like about me was because one thing they didn't like too was because they had some drops. Worldwide Vendetta Snap Exchange had some drops. They had their own hats and stuff that got embroidered, and they had them on the what it was, the youngin snaps. Well, I can't remember, but it was like the bar snap or whatever. And they had like other drops or whatever, and when they posted the prices. I came out and said, hey, I would love to get one, but I don't want to spend that amount on it, which it wasn't a high amount, but I still kind of made a promise that I was not going to spend over a certain amount for a hat or whatever. So what I wound up doing was I wound up wait until somebody had bought multiple ones and, they didn't want one or whatever the case may be. And they posted that they were selling it because that was one of the rules in the group saying if you get a hat from the drop or whatever and you decide you don't want it, you can only sell it to a member within a group. You couldn't sell it outside of the group. So when that happened, people started wanting to get rid of that. Hey, I was going out and ask her, hey, would you take 21 ship for it? Man, and eventually somebody took 21 ship for the hat. The person didn't like that I got a hat from the drop and didn't pay that initial amount. And this person was one of the admins in the group or whatever. I want to say he was a creator group, the head admin, but I'm not particularly sure. And everybody that's that was in that group at that time, when I was in it, knows what I'm talking about. And I'm not going to mention names or get into it. The person knows who they are, and I want to tell it to the person here on camera that, even throughout what you did and stuff with what you had against me and this, that, and the other, I never held that against you. I never was like, oh man, I hate this person, this, that, and the other. I still to this day be like, didn't have no ill feelings towards you, whatever the case may be. I just was like, how can this person dislike me and I didn't even do anything to him? I can remember I inboxed them. That was one other thing I almost forgot. I inboxed this person because they were doing a drop, and I asked them, I was like, hey, I know you're doing this drop for a certain, you're doing a certain drop and the price is a certain amount, but you know what I stand for and everything the case may be. Hey, would you be willing to sell it to me for this price? And I'm thinking, okay, all I'm going to get is a yes or no. And I can't remember if that person inboxed me, if they inboxed me back or not. But I don't think they inboxed me. But that was one of the other things because, that was one of the things that came back to me that came back to my to me through messages and stuff like that. That was one of the things that person disliked, which was something simple as you could easily just say no, blase, and could have went about it. This was the final thing, the final nail in the coffin for me in the group. And, this whole time the person would post stuff about me and stuff, and I was just looking at it, ignoring it, and saying other and stuff like that and everything. And, the person was so desperate to try to justify removing me from the group that they went onto my personal page and started looking for stuff and looked at other things and endeavors that I did, stuff that wasn't illegal, wasn't ethically wrong, wasn't morally wrong, whatever. But, they look for other things outside that they could sit and say, oh, I don't like this about this person. I don't like that about that person. And, and to justify it. And then they took all that and compiled all together. And then they mixed that with the fact that they was in position enough to do it, that they can make that decision and nobody could question them, or they had to, get approval to do it. And they did it. And so, at the end of the day, I'm looking like, you had that much hatred in your heart for me, or you was that desperate to get rid of me that you're going to go on my personal page and look for stuff and, go out your way doing this investigation and stuff to find something to get to justify your action on getting rid of me. You're doing the most. You're doing too much. You could have just up and just removed me from the group. If that was the case, if you already had enough power to do it and nobody could question you, you ain't had to get approved for nobody. You should just did that from the get-go. Just remove me from the group. When the first time when you ain't like that I set this rule in place for myself that I was going to spend $21 on a hat. More than $21 on a hat. You could just say, okay, man, remove him. I don't like that. Because at the end of the day, You done went through all that, and then people still see how you treated me and how that went down, and you still had collateral damage from it. You know, so that's basically in a nutshell why I'm no longer in the group. You know, and it's been a while. This is, as of me posting this is February 2021. I want to see, man, this happened back in 2015, if not earlier than that. You know, so I've been sitting on there, you know, like I said, I've been thinking about it, and it's like, you know, I laugh about it now that, you know, they even a person would sit there and do that, and it's like, you know, I'm still in it. I still got my Instagram page. It's running well and stuff. It's alive and kicking, and I'm in other Facebook groups and stuff that have much more traffic and stuff like that and stuff. And you know, I'm still doing it. People, you know, you still can go in there and ask people about me, and they can say, okay, yeah, he's cool, he's this, that, and the other. And I've created friendships and stuff with people and stuff, and buying stuff to whereby I have favorite items and stuff like that, and you know, and show that same love to people, you know, and you know, I don't know what that person's doing now. If they're still over the group, or you know, they moved on, or whatever the case may be. But you know, it's like it's funny that today I'm not a part of this group because of your own personal disliking or whatever. Like I said, I'm not saying this to you for the people who know who I'm talking about. Like I said, if you was in that group, you was in World Wide Vendetta Stamp Exchange around the time I was in, you know who I'm talking about. The admin and stuff that I'm talking about and everything. And people who I've inboxed that I've talked to about that and everything, you know, they know who I'm talking about. You know, I wouldn't say you go to them and you know go send hate to them and stuff. Man, let them be. You know, I'm cool. Me, it's no sweat off my back or whatever. It's just, you know, and I've already forgiven them. You like when they did it, you know, it's cool. I shook my head and I just went on and everything. So yeah, that's why I'm no longer in a World Wide Vendetta Stamp Exchange. You know, it's just all some funny stuff. Like I said, I'm still posting stuff. You know, I still have my Instagram. I got all kinds of stuff and everything. I posted, you know, post jerseys, post hats on my Instagram. At the Hills Have Snaps. That's the Hills Have Snaps. And I'm still on Facebook and stuff. You know, to post stuff in the groups and everything like that. Like I said, you know, I still got stuff, and I still go still give good deals to people and everything. You know, I still got stuff like this Hardaway jersey and stuff. I got this champion Hardaway jersey. I got right now. I'm posting that and having that on there for a good deal and everything. So you know, that's just one little hiccup, and I just take that dust my shoulder off and keep going. So, and saying that, I'm out. Y'all have a wonderful evening. Peace.